Broncos Country, help me out. Our Raiders report host here at Chat Sports, Mitchell Wren, said there is no way, and I quote, no way in hell the Donkeys can get over 9,500 subscribers. And he was so bold in saying that, I said, all right, if we do reach that number, I get to take the spatula from the office kitchen and slap you silly with it. And if that's something you want to see, hit that big red button and subscribe. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with a fun show laid out for you guys today. We're going to pump some positivity. We're going to raise morale for this team right now because people are in the dumps a little bit after a rocky 2-1 start. But we do have to get started with Russell Wilson, who is very, I wouldn't say optimistic, he's very confident that this team, and most importantly, this offense is going to start getting into a rhythm. Team reporter Eric Delilah tweeting out, Russell Wilson on the Broncos offense finding success. We're so close. He said the way the defense is playing, when the offense turn things around, they'll be pretty close to unstoppable. So some big words coming for number 3, and honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing it because I am running out of patience and time for this offense to start looking like the very talented offense that it is. I know there's excuses out there of give it time, it's a new coach, it's a new quarterback, they need to mesh better. Yeah, it was also a new quarterback and a coach exchange last year for Teddy Bridgewater and Vic Fangio, who didn't even know offense was a thing, and they averaged more than 2 touchdowns a game. So I'm going to have some leash, I'll give some leeway and some slack, but I'm coming towards the end of it. And I think this week will probably be the last week where I am done at least even attempting to try and make sense of why this offense has frankly been poo-poo. 14.3 points per game. Overall, middle of the pack. We saw them in the first week have no issue driving down the field, but when they got to the red zone, well, it took until week 3 to score their first red zone touchdown. In the air, 230 yards per game. On the ground, 117. Third down was an issue on Sunday night. A lot of 3-and-outs, way too many to count, and it reflects there, only converting on 36.9% of mistakes, of third downs. But mistakes is what I was getting to here. The mistakes cannot keep stacking up. Everyone's trying to diagnose the Broncos right now. Why isn't it working, right? Why isn't it clicking? Why are there so many growing pains? Well, rewatching the Sunday night game, a couple things stood out to me. And that is that the mistakes this team makes just pile on one another, and it makes a whole shit tower of mistakes. Allow me to illustrate. Here is the first play after Russell Wilson pitched it to Melvin Gordon before getting sacked or going down, and he scrambled for like 25 yards, okay? DeMeco Ryans, the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator, is going to bring a little bit of a blitz here. You got your 4 usual rushers, and there, circled in yellow, is a corner that's going to come off the edge. Now, the Broncos have a tight end on that side who should chip this free rusher, and then Garrett Bowles has to get over there. That is not what happens. Here's what happens to this free rusher. He blows up the play, and it's a loss of 6 on a run. Just can't have that. You just cannot have someone walk up to the line of scrimmage before the snap and absolutely walk right into the backfield. So that's first down, okay? Moving on to second down here. You already have mistake number 1 on this series. Mistake number 2 is Courtland Sutton. He is open. You have to make this grab. Courtland Sutton has been awesome this year. I'm not saying he can't drop footballs, all right? Unless you're Larry Fitzgerald, you're going to have drops. You just can't have them after your offense just went back 6 yards on first down. So now they're facing 3rd and long after a loss on first down and an incomplete pass on second down. What does DeMeco Ryans do here? Well, he goes back to first down. He said, they did not even touch the free rusher coming off the edge. Why don't I just do the exact same thing again and see if they learned from their mistake? Did they? Nope. You guessed it. Here comes the free edge rusher right off the side, completely untouched, and he's going to sack Russell Wilson. First down, by the way, on this series was at the 49ers' 28-yard line. You have to score there. Instead, it's a punt. 3 big mistakes just stacking up on one another. And that is this team's biggest issue right now, is when they make one mistake, all of a sudden, the floodgates open and they just start pouring in. Now, we all want to see this offense improve. My 2 cents on where that really starts, I think it might be the offensive line up front. Got to stop going backwards on plays where DeMeco Ryans just says, I don't think they're going to even look to the left side of the offensive line. They didn't on first down. Surely they'll be smart enough to correct themselves 2 plays later. They don't. Offensive line needs to play better. They were pretty bad on Sunday night. They have to be better against Max Crosby and the Raiders this upcoming Sunday. Now, speaking of the faders, predict the score. Broncos, Raiders. Unfortunately, Las Vegas has had Denver's number for a good stretch here, winning 7 of the last 10. I'm going with the Broncos. I got the Broncos in this one. Give me Denver. My score will change as the week progresses, but Broncos 28, Vegas 17, and Josh McDaniels is on a bigger hot seat than he already is. All right, speaking of this Broncos offense, though, Russell Wilson. If you listen to the Monday Night Football Manning cast, you might have heard Eli Manning towards the end of the game, bit of a jab at Russell Wilson, saying they should have paid that punter $235 million instead of Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson was asked about this comment from Eli Manning today, and he said, I'm 3-0 against Chad Powers. Now, he's making a reference to Eli Manning going like undercover boss. Good show, but after like 2 episodes, it's pretty boring. But anywho, he went undercover at Penn State, named Chad Powers, and Russell Wilson was like, you know what? If you want to throw shade my way, Eli, who, by the way, finished career 500, and Giants fans are going to make the argument for him being a Hall of Fame quarterback. Maybe he is on paper. He never looked like one to me. That's a separate conversation. But Russell Wilson now gets set to take on the Raiders, a team kind of like the Giants he does not have a ton of familiarity with. He's only played against Vegas 0 times, at the time Oakland twice. And in those 2 games, sub 60% completion percentage, just over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He played them once in 2014 and then again in 2018. Now, unfortunately, Bradley Chubb, who we're going to talk about in just a moment, has not had a ton of success against the Raiders. Sort of like no one really has for this Broncos team over the last 5 or so years where the Raiders have dominated this rivalry. No sacks, no forced fumbles. Hopefully that changes this Sunday, though. Bradley Chubb would love to see it change. He was asked about the Raiders. Here's what he said. I hate them, to be honest with you. I hate them. There's only a few teams in the league I hate, and they're one of them. And as a fan, this has to pump you up. Because players come and go, but fans always hate their rivals. But when your guys get in on it and they hate your rival as much as you do, that's a great way to become a fan favorite. So if you hate the Raiders, spam FLV. Light up the comment section. Go to our Raiders report. I don't care. Write a postcard to Josh McDaniels with 2 words, FLV, all right? Spam it in the comment section below if you cannot stand the Las Vegas Raiders. Second half of today's show is another doctor's visit, the injury report. We're going to look at that and an update on Billy Turner, as the panic button's not even out for me. It's so far out, I've been smashing it for a week at this point because Mike Kliss with the latest on Billy Turner not practicing, his recovery from knee injury not coming along yet. Hackett, we're just trying to get him over that hump. And I am officially panicking. This is something, for all of you guys that have been watching the show for quite some time, I was panicking back in March about this right tackle position. But I bought into Billy Turner, and I was like, okay, he started practicing a couple weeks ago. He should be returning soon. If it was really that serious, they would have put him on IR, open up another roster spot. He'll miss the first 4 games. Well, clearly things are not going as planned because they would have put him on IR to open up an extra roster spot if they knew from the jump he's not playing anytime soon. But they didn't do that because they thought he would return soon. And here we are, week 4, and it doesn't feel like Billy Turner's going to play. And it looks like it's going to be Cam Fleming again, which isn't maybe the sexiest option. Has he been bad? No. For being at the time, third-string right tackle, I think he has exceeded a lot of our expectations. Now, PFF has him ranked as the 18th overall tackle in football. As someone who has watched 180 minutes now of Broncos football, he has not looked like the 18th best tackle. Great in run blocking. Pass blocking is where he suffers. 3 penalties and 1 sack allowed. So if I could be GM George Paton for a moment, what about trading for Riley Reiff, the Chicago Bears backup tackle, who has a ton of experience in the NFL. He played a long time for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was signed by Chicago during training camp when they were in a similar spot as the Broncos of, we don't know what our starting 5 of this offensive line is going to look like. Let's bring in competition and let the best names rise to the top. He has only played 1 snap so far this season. PFF dropped a whole trade package article today, and they've got Riley Reiff going for a day 3 pick. That's no surprise. Now, Reiff, we don't have any stats for him this year, but last year with the Bengals, when he was their starting right tackle, 61 out of 148, that's in the top half. It's also why he's not with the Bengals anymore, right? He was a big guy, point the finger at Joe Burrow getting sacked a ton, even though that problem has not been alleviated. 1 penalty, 4 sacks allowed. Is he going to come in here and be an all-pro right tackle? No. Will he be better than Cam Fleming? I think it's worth a 2024 bag of footballs to figure that one out. Now, what is your panic level over Billy Turner? Scale it 1 to 10. I'm at an 8.7. I just don't think there's a way we're going to see Billy Turner anytime soon. The fact that he went from practicing to every single Sunday, just not getting through the warm-ups and ultimately not being active, to he's not even practicing this week, tells me whatever knee injury that led to him being released from Green Bay with a failed physical, unfortunately, you don't want to see it, but this is the nature of football. It's pretty serious at this point here. All right, other notable names on the injury report, middle of the week here, so give this some time, and we'll learn more about this as we get closer to kickoff. But Billy Turner, like we mentioned, Quinn Meinerz, he was an emergency player in Week 3 against the 49ers. A week later, I expect him to go right back to his spot at right guard. Dalton Risner, he's dealing with an ankle injury. And then D.J. Jones, he is in concussion protocol. I want to end today's show on a bright note, though. What about Corliss Waitman, the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week this past Sunday for the Broncos? That was awesome to see. He had some awesome punts. Honestly, he was a top 5 player. Hackett gave him the game ball, and Waitman literally slept with it in his bed. No joke. That was his pillow. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Appreciate all of you guys for making us a part of your day. Signing off. Checking up with you guys later with more Broncos news and rumors.